free distribution since the target of slave raiders were the able-bodied and those within the productive years. If they came there, they will not take the government. They will not take the government. They will not take me. They will not take anybody above 30. They will take people who they know will help them farm their land. They left behind the aged, the weak, and the children, all dependents. They left behind dependents. So, for nearly 300 years, development was arrested in Africa. And I say this, besides the arrest of development, we have to now reproduce from weak people the current generation of Africans. We are all, on the average, offspring of weak ancestors. Very, very weak ancestors. That's why we are weak. We are weak. This took them to recover. We are still recovering. We are still in recovery mode. It took us at least 100 years to get to where we are now. The best amongst us are over there. This took us almost a century to recalibrate our demography. By which time, as we are getting over that dilemma, the colonialists came. As if the first calamity was not enough. As we are struggling to recover, what happened? Another disaster struck. The second and by far more important is governance. Come on. I want to be sure. Okay. So, we have colonial domination. Okay. The second and by far more important is governance. I've spoken to you the demographic imbalance and the consequence of it on us. Now, the second developmental challenge is governance. Poor leadership, corruption, and failure to build institutions. We glorify little things. We glorify little things. Little things attract us. What is meaningful, we put aside. And they are interrelated and mutually reinforcing. You have poor leadership, you have corruption, you have failure to build institutions. That institutions are potters that will outlast individuals. Potters, social potters that will outlive individuals. We don't care. African leaders lack empathy. For most part, they are self-serving, vacuous, vainglorious, infernally trapped in primitive accumulations. Leadership in Africa is like tapeworm. When you cut the head, another one comes out. Tapeworm. Let's say injury arrive. It may have died. What comes out is another egg, exactly same. This makes the African countries vulnerable in a seemingly calm but ravenously wide global system that preys on the weak, disorganized and less strategic nations through their traffic, subversion, and mindless and callous exploitation. You'll be shocked to know that there's a country in Africa who mentioned the name, go and find it out, that has under its ground 34 trillion worth of minerals. One African country has mineral reserve under its soil worth $34 trillion. The wealth in that country alone is enough to make every African wealthy, if only we get our hands together to help that country, to help all of us. This makes the African countries vulnerable in a seemingly calm but ravenously wide global system that preys on the weak, disorganized and less strategic nations through death trap, subversion, and mindless and callous exploitation. This is the point we are now as a people. We have to break this vicious cycle of the emergence of self-serving leaders who lack the concept of public good, irrespective of their external interests. All the armed conflicts in Africa are at the BS of the ruinous and self-serving leaders. It's not we attribute it to this and that. No. If our leaders are up to it, there won't be conflict in Africa. The conflicts we have are manifestations of economic imbalance. The continent of Africa is at a point where it must, through democratic revolution, prop up its best into leadership position. If we cannot get our best to lead us, let us just resign. Prayer will not do it, or prayers alone will not do it. We must be Rotary. I will address you later. I know you want to be a political. In Africa, you cannot be a political. In America, they can be a political. They have cornered the resources of the world sufficiently to be a political. We must develop leaders that will help us exploit what is left of our resources through knowledge and capacity development. This is the point we are now. We have to break this vicious circle of the emergence of self-serving leaders who lack the conception of the public good, irrespective of the external impulse. All the armed conflicts in Africa are at the BS of the ruinous and self-serving leaders. The continent of Africa is at a point where it must, through democratic revolution, prop up its best into leadership positions, political, economic, and social, and put an end to the misery of its worst emerging leaders. We must produce leaders that will place premium value on human lives and make the pursuit of human development a guiding principle of state. We know this is possible because Africans thrive and excel when they take up leadership positions outside the continent. We only need to be purposeful in throwing up our best leadership, our best in leadership positions. We have the capacity. We just refuse to encourage the best among us to be in front. We must learn from European history that Europe began the march to continental development and global leadership when the princes, listen to this, stopped their self-seeking and self-aggrandizement. Was when you see Britain had to execute one of his kings, not for joke, to redirect his efforts. So when they got their princes to stop selfishness and useless wars, then they began their march to peace and development. The benefit of which is what we are witnessing today. If you don't stop those among us who like only themselves and their children, we have nowhere to go. Sadly, my experience. I'm almost rounding up. As most of us here probably knew, and those who don't know, listen. I was privileged to be the governor of this state for 2 terms, between 2010 and 2018. The administration I led pursued human development to the fullest. If you want to have a demonstration or a model of development focused administration, go and study what we did here between 2010 and 2018. Education especially was a priority. Our administration constructed state of the art, and I mean it, incomparable, let me use a better word, incomparable 20 elementary schools, 22 middle schools, 11 high schools. As I'm talking now, no state has anything compared to what I built almost 10 years ago here. No state in Nigeria boasts of any school comparable to what I built here 10 years ago. In addition to new schools, we constructed 3,685 new classrooms across all school levels, expanding access to education for over 184,000 students in Osun. In addition, we renovated 410 classrooms, including 139 in 39 elementary schools, 271 in 36 middle schools, and completely renovated 9 high schools. These are the intervention of the state government. They do not include what the local government did. They do not include the what we call consensus project of National Assembly members. They did their own. What I've read are what we did at the state level. In addition, we constructed toilets in 160 schools to ensure hygiene and the dignity of students and teachers. We distributed 62,000 new sets of furniture to improve the learning environment in schools. We procured and distributed 45 brand new school buses to provide free and safe transportation for students all over the state for pupils. And we fenced 20 either to unfenced old school premises to enhance security and safe learning environment. We gave out 50,000 tablets of knowledge to all students in final year of our high schools statewide. 50,000. We also recruited 12,000 teachers for high schools and 3,230 teachers for elementary schools within this period. We also served, listen to this is quite interesting. No state government can say this anywhere in Nigeria, even up to today. We served 317 million odd plates of nutritious meals to 254,350 pupils in elementary schools here in this state between 2012 and 2018. We served nutritious meals. 317 million meals. We introduced calisthenics to schools, which also incorporated private schools into the scheme. Under our watch, Osun's performance in external examination shot up from 15% pass to 46%. The 11 high schools we built, by our projection, will each graduate 11,000 students every year. By our plan, some people came and aborted it for reasons best known to them. by our projection, if it had continued in 10 years, assuming they didn't even add anyone to it, in 10 years, those schools would have produced 110,000 first-rate students. First, because that was a projection. That should it even be left the way we did then, in 10 years, or she would have produced 110,000 first-class students. In 50 years, that would be 550,000 world beaters occupying strategic positions nationally and globally. Our administration took care of the aged and vulnerable members of society in massive empowerment of artisans and traders. 3.5 billion naira was provided as interest-free loans in our microcredit agency. I don't know of after us, before us, no government provided interest-free loan. We did. We also instituted a grooming program at the grassroots, under which we trained women in vocation and empowered them to stand on their own. The